In 27, a former government microbiologist sat in a Las Vegas hotel room and made a claim no man had ever made on camera before. He said the United States government built a machine that could see the future. He said they used it, and he said what they saw was so catastrophic they shut it down. His name was Dr. Dan Burisch. According to his testimony, the device was called Project Looking Glass. According to a being his team allegedly captured, a creature from 45,000 years in our future, the machine was destined to kill 4,157,000,000 human beings. Beginning, he said, in December 2012, "Welcome back to Viral UFOs. Tonight we go deep on the strangest classified program ever leaked into public testimony, Project Looking Glass. Time travel, captured beings from the future, demonic entities allegedly bleeding through a wormhole at S4. If this is the rabbit hole you came here for, hit subscribe right now. We post weekly, and tonight is exceptional. Let's establish the fundamentals. Project Looking Glass, according to whistleblower testimony, was a back-engineered device housed at S4, the alleged underground annex south of Area 51. Its function was not travel, it was viewing. By accessing what physicists call an Einstein-Rosen bridge, operators could allegedly look forward or backward in time itself. The physical description is consistent across multiple sources. A rotating barrel containing superheated mercury, surrounding magnetic coils generating a tunable field, a projection apparatus emitting a beam upward where a yellow disk would form in mid-air, displaying probable futures. The room was lit yellow, so any leaking mercury vapor would show up as visible green gas. The origin story is where it stops sounding scientific. According to Burisch, the technology was not invented by humans. The blueprints, he claims, were encoded in ancient Sumerian cylinder seals, given to early civilization by an advanced contingent of future humans who traveled back in time after a global cataclysm. The deluge, the flood. The same flood referenced in nearly every ancient culture. The reverse engineering itself, Burisch says, began after Operation Paperclip, the post-World War II program that brought Nazi scientists to the United States. Material recovered from the 1947 Roswell crash was added to the program. By the 1960s, the United States allegedly had working prototypes. By the early 1980s, Looking Glass was operational at S4, used by what Burisch called Majestic 12, now the operators. Burisch claims Looking Glass required specific people to function. Not anyone could turn it on and read the output. The device required, quote, conscious attunement, operators with rare neurological or genetic profiles whose consciousness could lock to the machine. Wrong operator, garbled signal. Right operator, a clear projection of a probable timeline. He claims he saw a man die during one experiment. Brief pause. If a former MJ-12 microbiologist describing a Nazi American mercury time machine being run by genetically selected psychics isn't enough to make you smash subscribe, I genuinely don't know what is. Drop the words "looking glass" in the comments. The algorithm uses comment density to push videos like this to fellow truth seekers. Now back to it. The most disturbing element of Burisch's testimony is the convergence. According to him, when operators projected futures past a certain date, every probable timeline began to collapse onto the exact same outcome. No matter what variables they changed, no matter what scenarios they modeled, the convergence point was a single moment in time. December 21, 2012. The galactic alignment. The J-rods enter here. According to Burisch, his team had access to a captured non-human being designated P45. A grey-like creature, he says, was actually a future descendant of humanity from 45,000 years ahead of us. The J-rod's historical records described what happens when the looking glass is operated during a major celestial alignment. The Earth's energy grid overloads. Catastrophic events follow. The number Burisch cites is precise: 4,157,000,000 dead in a cascade of disasters lasting several years. Famine, geomagnetic collapse, earth changes. According to him, the various international groups operating looking-glass devices, at least 50 Stargate-class machines existed worldwide, agreed to dismantle them all before the alignment. The components, he says, were separated and stored in different countries. This is where the demonic angle enters. Multiple looking-glass adjacent witnesses, including alleged operators interviewed by Bill Hamilton and Project Camelot's Kerry Cassidy, described something unexpected. When the device was active, operators sometimes reported the sensation of being watched back through the projection. Some reported entities they could not classify as either alien or human. Some reported what they openly called demonic. This was not in the design specification. The device was supposed to display probability streams from a multiverse mathematically. Richard Gott's cosmic string work was reportedly part of the framework. It was not supposed to function as a two-way portal, and yet operators reported phenomena consistent with two-way contact. Apparitions in the projection, voices, influence on the people in the room. Christian researchers, including former Pentagon insider Tom Horn, have for years argued that what Looking Glass was actually accessing was not a parallel timeline. It was the realm of the principalities described in the book of Ephesians. That every alleged extraterrestrial recovered from a crash, every J-Rod, every Grey, was instead a fallen entity. Different theological language, same physical claim. Final subscribe pitch, I promise. We're already producing dedicated deep dives on the J-Rods, on the December 2012 convergence claim, and on Burisch's full Project Camelot testimony. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. Drop a comment with your theory, alien, demon, or something we don't have a word for yet. Now let's finish this. CERN must be addressed here. The Large Hadron Collider in Geneva became fully operational in 2008, 2 years after Burisch claims Looking Glass was decommissioned. The timing is the conspiracy. Researchers like Dr. Astrid Stuckelberger have publicly suggested CERN's Collider is a successor program, capable of opening interdimensional bridges by other means. CERN itself dismisses these claims. The questions never stop. Now the corroboration question. Bill Hamilton, a respected veteran UFO researcher, has stated that independent sources confirmed key elements of Burisch's testimony to him in the early 2000s. Bill Uhaus, an alleged Area 51 engineer, claimed first-hand knowledge of the spinning mercury technology. James Casbolt, a self-described super soldier program survivor, has published photographs he claims show Looking Glass mercury coils. And here is the strange Hollywood detail. The film Stargate was released in October 1994. Stargate SG-1 premiered in 1997. Burisch's book Eagles Disobey was published in 1998. According to him, his work at S4 began in 1994, the exact year the original film hit theaters. Some commentators argue the franchise was deliberate disclosure, fictionalized to inoculate the public. Others argue Burisch simply read fiction and rebranded it as memoir. Now the honest skepticism. Almost everything we have just covered traces back to one man, Dan Burisch. There is no independent physical evidence of Looking Glass, no declassified documents, no second insider with first-hand operator status. Bill Hamilton's corroboration is based on sources Hamilton refuses to name. Casbolt's mercury coil photo cannot be authenticated. The chain rests on testimony alone, but there are anomalies the skeptical view does not fully explain. Burisch's microbiology credentials are real. His Project Camelot testimony spans hundreds of pages and remains internally consistent across 19 years. Multiple disconnected whistleblowers, Corey Goode, William Tompkins, the late Bob Dean, referenced the same convergence concept independently. Either they all read each other's books, or they were all reading something else. In April 2026, the conversation has shifted again. The Trump administration's UAP transparency push has produced unprecedented congressional access. AARO, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, has acknowledged for the first time that historical legacy programs require investigation. Former Congressman Matt Gaetz publicly referenced black-budget hybrid programs last month. The window for Looking Glass to surface in declassified form has never been wider. If even 10% of Burisch's testimony is true, the implications are nearly unbearable. It means the United States government had a working time-viewing technology by the 1980s. It means they used it. It means they saw something so disturbing that 50 allied nations agreed to take their devices apart. And it means whatever they saw is still ahead of us. December 2012 was just the gateway. Maybe Burisch is a fabulist. Maybe Stargate the movie was just a movie. Maybe the mercury coils were never real, the J-rod was never captured, and the 4 billion death projection was a number he made up to sell a book. Maybe. But the man told the same story for 19 years without contradicting himself. And every year, more of the surrounding architecture quietly turns out to exist. If you want to keep pulling this thread with us, subscribe. The deeper you go into Looking Glass, the harder it becomes to tell which timeline you're actually standing in. Stay skeptical, stay curious, and the next time you look up at the stars, remember, according to one man who sat in front of a camera in 27, somebody up there has already seen how this ends. This is Viral UFOs.